rápida y sencilla usando su teléfono inteligente, tableta o correo electrónico a sus clientes, proveedores, empleados o a cualquier persona con la que usted necesite estar en contacto de manera instantánea. Y la mejor parte es que funciona perfectamente con lo que usted ya tiene, además de ser ideal para usarse con cualquier aplicación de mensajería instantánea o sistema de correo electrónico que usted ya está utilizando. Llámenos hoy al 832-384-9588 para ordenar su videotarjeta de negocios o envíenos un correo a videocard@nowmedia.tv.
Hi, my name is Amelia Young, and I am a breast cancer survivor. When I was diagnosed with cancer in 2016, I endured not only difficult physical challenges, but also mental challenges such as anxiety, depression, anger, and a great uncertainty about the future. In 2017, I went into remission, and I decided my goal was to provide to women like me a supportive and nurturing place to retreat, recharge, and heal. That is why I created Sumantra Holistic and became a breast cancer mentor and healing minister. I know from experience what you and your loved ones are going through, the sadness, the fear, the anger, and I know how to mentor you and yours during these difficult times. Let me help you. Let me be part of your holistic healing process. Let's walk this path together towards peace, health, and mental balance.
If you are in the market for your next property, or if you're looking to refinance it, DOS Home Loans is your one-stop solution. Hi, my name is Yang Tran, branch manager at DOS Home Loans. With over 20 years of experience and thousands of loans originated, DOS Home Loans has funded conventional loans, VA loans, FHA loans, loans for first-time home buyers, jumbo loans, and even reverse mortgages. Keeping with the latest current market trends, we also offer non-QM loans, which caters to self-employed borrowers. We have solutions to help consolidate your debts, including student loans, as well as house renovations. Our goal is to make your lending experience as effortless as possible. With competitive rates to fit your individual needs, our customer service representatives are some of the best in the nation. Let us be a part of your success in securing your next loan. Call me today for your own personal consultation.
Did you know your clients will decide to do business with you and your company within 15 seconds of browsing your website, your social media, and your digital footprint? In addition, your company's reviews will play a major role in client retention and future referrals. Hi, I'm Mike Moran with Digital Dimensions, a WSI agency. We use the latest digital
Houston, Officer Jesus Robles with the Office of Community Affairs of the Houston Police Department. We are launching Click It or Ticket. You want to know more about it? We are at a Houston, a local storage facility where there's a lot of vehicles that have been involved in many ugly accidents. And some of them, a lot of people were not wearing seatbelts. So you want to check it out? Stick around here with us at Community Shield of the Houston Police Department. Sergeant Gonzalez from Traffic Enforcement will be here with us. And of course, we're going to be talking to some citizens that have something to say about Click It or Ticket. Join us. So we continue. This is Community Shield, a program of the Houston Police Department. We want to thank you for joining us on this day. This week, we want to bring more awareness. A campaign has been already taken out. It's out there. It's supported by so many agencies. This is part of the One Safe Houston. Of course, this collaborative policing with many agencies. This campaign is actually endorsed by so many agencies. For example, the DPS and so many agencies all around the area. The Houston Police Department works in this campaign called Click It or Ticket. And for that, we have Sargento Gonzalez, and he represents traffic enforcement of the Houston Police Department, has everything to do with the freeways, with the roads, with safety. Sergeant Gonzalez, tell me, what does your day look like? What do you guys do in traffic enforcement?
I'm in charge of the radar unit. So my guys are out there patrolling the freeways and the surface streets, school zones, and enforcing the speed laws, as well as all the other traffic laws when we're driving.
And that's why today we are visiting a Houston area storage lot. We want to thank them for allowing us to be here and just peek around some of the vehicles and some of the crashes. Very, very interesting stories that every single one of these cars has. Sarge, every car has a story. Every accident has a story. What are we going to be looking at today?
That's correct. We were looking at going to be looking at some of the damage on the vehicles and the subsequent damage that can occur, which some is obvious from just experience and doing this for so long and seeing so many different types of accidents and seeing when people do wear their seatbelts and don't wear their seatbelts. The damage that's occurred and once the vehicle comes to rest is indicative of a person wearing a seatbelt or not wearing a seatbelt.
So there it is, and we will be snooping around, looking around these vehicles and just finding how this accident may have occurred, and of course some of the damage that tells the story of someone that might not have been wearing a seatbelt.
Correct. And it could be a very small, minor accident, and it could lead to a fatality simply because someone wasn't wearing their seatbelt or wearing it properly.
Thousands of lives have been saved with these campaigns, and specifically speaking about Click It or Ticket. Click It or Ticket, I know it sounds punitive. It sounds like you're just out there giving tickets.
Correct. And that's one thing we want to remind everyone. It's not just about the punitive side. It's issuing the citation. We're out there to make people aware and to educate people about the importance of wearing a seatbelt and wearing it properly with the shoulder harness across the chest, not just the lap belt, and also the importance of having children in car seats up to the age of 5. And every ride, every rider is what we like to say. So every person in the vehicle must be wearing their seatbelt, because even the person in the back, if you get involved in an accident, they can get tossed into the front, and then they can cause severe damage to the other passengers who were seatbelted in because they weren't seatbelted, and they get thrown or thrashed around.
You know, and that's so important. You might be able to cheat an officer by just throwing the seatbelt on top of you without securing it, but the person you're not going to cheat, or the activity, is that accident. That accident is going to have consequences. The moment you impact something, that vehicle is going to have to slow down, but the body keeps moving.
That's correct. It's just simple physics. Just because the vehicle stops, your body does not stop. Your body stays in motion. So that seatbelt ensures that we stay in place and inside the vehicle.
So there it is. You're not going to cheat the system once. If you get involved into an accident, horrible consequences are going to occur. So don't cheat yourself. Don't cheat your kids from not putting a seatbelt on. Put your seatbelts on. And let's check out this storage lot, and let's let these vehicles tell us the story of what might have happened, and we can pick something up from this so that we don't fall victim in not wearing our seatbelts.
Good morning. I'm Robert Gonzalez. I'm a sergeant with the Houston Police Department in the Traffic Enforcement Division. And today I wanted to talk to you about the Click It or Ticket campaign and the importance of wearing your seatbelt. It's every ride, every rider. So everyone in the vehicle must wear their seatbelt. So keep that in mind. This right here, minor accident, minor damage. Something as simple as this can be a fatal accident. I made the scene of an accident at one point where a gentleman had hit the vehicle or hit the wall in an elevated portion of the freeway. The damage was minor, but since he was not wearing a seatbelt, he got ejected from the vehicle and subsequently had fatal injuries because he was on an elevated part of the freeway, and he ended up suffering fatal injuries, like I said. So it's very important that we wear our seatbelts. Just because the vehicle stops, our bodies don't stop. Our bodies continue in motion. It's just simple physics. And the seatbelts are what saves our lives. Click It or Ticket is a program that's designed to educate and make people aware about the importance of wearing seatbelts. Not only adults, but children as well as wearing car seats. Here we have more of a major accident. Not aware how many passengers were in here, but all passengers must wear seatbelts. Every ride, every rider. In this instance, this was a pretty severe accident, as you can see. There's a lot of damage in the driver's side. In this particular accident, it's major damage. Obviously, if someone wasn't wearing a seatbelt, they could have gotten ejected through the windshield and suffered catastrophic injuries. As well as passengers, if they were not wearing a seatbelt, if the driver was wearing a seatbelt and everyone else thought they didn't have to wear a seatbelt, their bodies continue in motion once the accident occurs. So their bodies are going to get thrashed and thrown around inside the vehicle, possibly killing or injuring other passengers that are wearing seatbelts that aren't getting thrown around in the vehicle. So that's something to think about. And that's why we have this program. It's not about just writing tickets. It's about educating the public and making sure that everyone stays safe and is aware about the importance of wearing seatbelts due to accidents, even hard stops. Hard stops could cause major injuries to people that aren't wearing their seatbelts. Because when you make a hard stop, like I said, your body stays in motion. It doesn't stop. Just because the car stops doesn't mean your body stops. Your body's going to continue in motion. It's the laws of physics. So when you wear your seatbelt and you wear it properly, you must wear the shoulder harness over your chest, not under your arm, because that's going to save yourself as well. Because you could suffer catastrophic injuries by only wearing the lap belt. Once again, I've said it before, your body stays in motion. If you just wear the lap belt and you don't wear the shoulder harness across the chest, your torso and your legs will continue in motion, keeping your waist in place, and you could suffer severe injuries. So that's something to think about. As you can see, this severe damage in this accident, hopefully no one was killed and everyone was wearing their seatbelts. Continuing on with the Click It or Ticket program, here we have another accident, which is not as severe as the one we've seen before. But you see where the windshield is cracked, it's spiderwebbed. That's indicative of a head impact. So when we don't wear our seatbelt, that's something you have to think about is head injuries, which could be severe. Not only do we have to worry about head injuries, but we also have to worry about airbags and whether or not they've been replaced correctly. This obviously was a frontal impact. There was no airbag that got released due to unknown reasons, whether it was mechanical or it had been in a previous wreck and the airbag was not replaced properly or there was not one put in place. So the driver's going to suffer most of the impact to his chest and head area when you don't wear a seatbelt. So it's really important that we wear our seatbelt and we wear it correctly. Once again, you have to wear the shoulder strap across your chest, and that keeps us safely in the seat and in control of the vehicle, and we still can have some control of the vehicle after impact. Here we have another frontal impact with obvious damage to the windshield, which is part of the reason we should wear our seatbelt. This was obviously some impact with the windshield, whether it was the head or the entire body coming out of the vehicle. One thing I want to remind you is if we wear our seatbelt and we have our child in our hands, we cannot hold that. Our bodies aren't strong enough to hold the child when the impact occurs, because that weight is going to be 10 times what we think we're holding. So you're not going to be able to hold on to him. Another thing is when that airbag, you have an airbag pops out, it's going to injure the child. He's going to take the blow, and it's not going to be good for the child because he's too small. That's why they are supposed to ride in a car seat in the back so that they are secure, so that airbag won't injure them. But you holding a child in the front seat is not safe at all. Even if you're seat belted, that child's going to suffer severe injuries, up to and including death. Another reason we should all wear seatbelts is that once you're inside the vehicle, like I keep saying, your body stays in motion once impact occurs. Just because the vehicle stops, your body does not stop. If you're not wearing the seatbelt, you're going to keep going in the direction that the vehicle was going, and you're going to cause injuries to yourself and to the other passengers in the vehicle, and they could be possibly fatal. We don't wear helmets as we're driving around, so our heads are pretty susceptible to injuries when we don't wear our seatbelts, because we can get thrashed around, tossed outside the vehicle, ejected, and a number of injuries can occur in that fashion. One thing we'd like to remind you, that just because the child is in a car seat doesn't mean he's safe. That seat has to be seat belted in and secured properly. So there's lots of videos on YouTube, or you can ask an officer and we can help you to properly install the seat so that ensure the safety of that child. So just because he's in a car seat doesn't mean that he's going to be safe and you just place it on the seat and don't seat belt the seat in. That car seat must be secured with the seat belt properly in order to ensure the child's safety. One thing we have to ensure is that when we do secure the car seats securely with the seat belt, is that each time we get in the vehicle, if we had passengers in the back, that safety seat is still secured with the seat belt. Because inadvertently, the passenger that was next to the car seat could have released the seat belt unknowingly, thinking they're releasing their seat belt, and they released the seat belt that was securing the car seat. So you need to ensure your child's safety by not only placing them in the car seat, but making sure that this car seat is secure with the seat belt.
My face and head is what broke the windshield.
The car flipped 8 times. I went out the window. I broke my tailbone, shattered my pelvis.
I could see my boyfriend's mom laying face down in the water. She didn't survive. I should have just said, everybody buckle up.
It's such a simple act that takes a few seconds.
I don't want anyone to have to go through what I've had to go through. You never get over it.
On this vehicle right here, that's another frontal impact. Pretty severe damage. But we can tell here that there's no windshield damage. There's no other window damage on the sides. So this person was obviously wearing a seatbelt. The airbags did their job. They protected the driver as well as the seatbelt. So this is a good example of what can happen when you do wear your seatbelt and you wear it properly. Remember, we must wear a seatbelt with the shoulder harness across our chest, not underneath our arm, and not sitting on the seatbelt. Worn properly, seatbelt saves lives. One thing we'd like to remind everyone is that we're not out there just writing tickets. This is about education and awareness. Education and awareness about the importance of wearing the seatbelt and wearing it properly. And also securing our children in our car seats and securing those car seats properly. Fines can range anywhere up to $300 for not wearing your seatbelt or not having your child in a car seat. So when you think you're driving around, you're just going to the store, most accidents happen within 2 miles from your home. So that's something to think about when you're going to make that quick run to the store and you take your son or daughter and you just throw them in the car or put them in the back thinking, oh, it's going to be okay. You have to think about the worst possible thing that can happen, because you never know. There's driver inattention, people on cell phones, impaired drivers. We never know exactly what's going on in our daily lives. You don't know what that other person's going through in that day, that week, that month. So people get distracted. So you have to be aware. You have to drive defensively, wear your seatbelt, put your children in car seats, secure them properly, and we're trying to save lives. This here was a rear-end collision. Just like before, the vehicle's going to continue in motion, and just due to the impact, you can get tossed out the back window if you're not wearing your seatbelt. That's why every ride, every rider, which means every person in the vehicle must wear their seatbelt. For the Click It or Ticket campaign, we're going to be all over Houston. We're going to be on the freeways, we're going to be on the service roads, we're going to be on the surface streets. So keep in mind, we're there to make you aware and educated about the importance of wearing a seatbelt. It's not just the punitive portion to where we're out there to write tickets and fill a quota, as people say. We're there to educate and make people aware of the importance of wearing a seatbelt.
We're told that Kaylee wasn't the driver, but Kaylee was the only one that wasn't wearing her seatbelt.
It's such a preventable thing, you know, to buckle your seatbelt, and if she had her seatbelt on, she would still be here today.
One thing I'd like to remind you is that once we see the violation and you put your seatbelt on, it's too late. We've already seen it. We walk up to the vehicle, just be courteous. The officer's going to be courteous. He's going to introduce himself. He's going to let you know why he stopped you. And at this point, there's no use being argumentative. You weren't wearing it at the time that we saw you. That's why we're stopping. If there's any doubt that you were or were not wearing your seatbelt, that officer's not going to make the stop. He's also going to, if he does make the stop, he's not going to write you. He's probably going to let you know, it looked like you weren't wearing your seatbelt. I see that you are. I wasn't sure. I just want to make sure that you are wearing it. And he's going to keep you aware and try to educate you on the importance of wearing the seatbelt. Remember, signing a citation and getting a citation, it's not an admission of guilt. It's simply acknowledging receipt of the citation, and it gives you a day in court. So you can plead your case to a judge or a jury in court. You can't do that on the street. There's officers there to issue the citation, make you aware of the violation that you committed and why he stopped you and why he's writing you the citation. But just remember, simply signing the citation is not an admission of guilt. Simply acknowledging receipt of the citation, and you'll have your day in court, which the officer will give to you. In closing, I'd like to point out a few things. The Click It or Ticket campaign, it's not punitive. We're not there just to write tickets. We're there to make the public aware and educate on the safety of wearing seatbelts. Click it or ticket. Every ride, every rider. Be safe.
We saw a bunch of vehicles. The ones that probably impacted me the most were the ones with that windshield cracked, where there is a possibility that the person impacted with their heads.
Correct. We saw one with the definite webbing. That damage came from inside. That vehicle was an older vehicle. It showed to have an airbag, but the airbag may not have deployed for equipment failure, or the seatbelt was not replaced when it was deployed before. So there's a number of issues, but the webbing on the windshield is indicative of your head making impact with the windshield. So that's something we have to be aware of. We don't wear helmets when we drive our vehicles or our cars and trucks, so we are going to suffer head injuries if we're not seatbelted in and get thrashed around. And one thing I'd like to point out is that just because you do have your seatbelt on and you put that shoulder strap under your arm, that's still not wearing the seatbelt, and you will be cited for that because that's not wearing the seatbelt properly, and it's not going to be able to do its job of saving your life. You could suffer severe damage up to paralysis because you're just having your lap belt on, and like I said, your body stays in motion when your vehicle stops. So your torso and your legs are going to continue, and it keeps your waist in place, and it could snap your spinal cord.
Again, the seatbelt is so important. Vehicles nowadays, they come with so much technology, so many sensors, vehicles, but there is failure that can occur, and you don't want to be part of that vehicle that was recalled because the airbag didn't come out. It's going to be a little too late if you're not wearing your seatbelt and that airbag didn't come out, and you didn't receive that secondary protection from that airbag. You brought about there was a vehicle, there was a truck back there that we saw there was clear frontal damage, and there was no airbag deployment.
Correct.
Sometimes people buy vehicles that have been involved in accidents before, and airbag has not been properly installed. Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah, I mean, it could be a number of reasons. We buy a used vehicle. We take it for granted that that vehicle is in proper working order. We're not aware, so always look at your Carfax and make sure it wasn't involved in an accident, and if it was, what type of accident it was there airbag deployment, so it lets us know all those things. That way you can ensure that that airbag was replaced properly. But there have been quite a few recalls because of airbags and malfunctions that were occurring, so there's a number of things. One thing we have to remember is that airbags are supplemental. So we have to wear a seatbelt, and the airbags ensure just that much more safety if we do get involved in an accident.
There it is. Click it or ticket. Every driver, every ride, every rider. Every ride, every rider, everybody, you have to be responsible. Wear your seatbelt. Quickly tell me a little bit about the citations. For example, you have an adult sitting on the back seat of a vehicle. You pull over that vehicle. You see that person did not have a seatbelt on. How does that work when you have adults sitting on the back seats or on the passenger seats? You're a driver. You got your seatbelt on. You're there, but you got your 21-year-old. You got your 18-year-old back there without a seatbelt.
Correct. That person is going to be responsible. Each adult in the vehicle is responsible for their own seatbelt. So they're going to be cited. Each person will be cited, not just the driver, but the rear back passenger, the side passenger. All the adults in the vehicle will be cited on their own.
All right. And if you got juveniles, you got kids in there, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old.
A child that's not in a car seat that's from 0 to 5 years old, the driver will be cited. From 6 to 16, the driver will be cited as well.
Again, this is not to be punitive. This is to bring awareness that seatbelts are very important, and we're here to save lives.
That's correct. That's why this program comes about. Click it or ticket. We're out there to save lives, make people aware, and educate people about the safeties and the tragedies that occur not wearing a seatbelt properly.
Just a few weeks ago, we had Commander Sonny Wynn coming out, giving us some staggering stats. From January 1st to May 18, 560 crashes in the Houston area were reported without the driver or passengers using their seatbelts. Now, many of these crashes, of course, as he stated, result in severe injuries, hospitalization, amputation, just severe injuries. 26 of these crashes included people that lost their lives.
Yes, it's really important that we wear our seatbelts. Like I said, it could be minor damage where the vehicle, you could still drive the vehicle off, but because of the impact, and if you weren't wearing your seatbelt, you get ejected from the vehicle and suffer severe damages. It could be fatal. It's unfortunate because if they would have been wearing their seatbelt, they could have survived. And it was a minor accident. They could have just driven home and fixed the vehicle at a later date. But now they're not able to do that because of these tragedies that occur. So we're here to educate everyone. There's a lot more drivers out on the streets, and so we want everybody to make sure they wear their seatbelts and they wear them correctly with that shoulder harness across the chest. So just remember, just because you do have that seatbelt and you have it under your arm, that's just like not wearing it. So you will get cited.
Let's go to this video. We have a citizen that came by to pick up some of the items that belonged to her daughter. She was involved also in a terrible accident, but very good decision that she wore her seatbelt. Let's hear from her. Officer Jesus Robles with the program Community Shield of the Houston Police Department, and today we are at one of the storage lots in the city of Houston, going down south around Wayside. And as we are recording these segments, talking about click it or ticket, we find a person that was getting her belongings or items from a vehicle, approach her and ask her for permission to see if we can get a statement or a story. What happened in this accident, and was there a seatbelt being used? And I find out that she is a mom. She's a concerned mom. She was celebrating her birthday on the day that she received this announcement from her daughter that was driving a vehicle, and she was concerned. So what happened? Tell me a little bit about this.
Like you mentioned, officer, it was indeed my birthday. So I was out celebrating my birthday that evening when I got the horrendous call. My daughter was involved in a car accident. It was actually 3 cars involved, and she was the last car. It was just heartbreaking, devastating to actually, get that call from her to say she was involved. The first thing I immediately, are you okay? Is anyone in the car with you? And she did have, fear of her friends. She's a teenage driver. Mm-hmm. And then the next thing when she said, Mom, I am okay, but I'm in a pain. I said, were you wearing a seatbelt? She said, Mom, yes, we were all wearing a seatbelt. So it is just so important that you continue to wear your seatbelt. Seatbelts save lives.
Yeah, and right now there is a campaign, the city of Houston, the Houston Police Department, in conjunction with DPS, Texas Departments of Public Safety. We're out there launching this campaign that we are going to be working the streets and looking for drivers that are not wearing their seatbelts. How important is it for drivers, and how important is it for your daughter and her friends that day of this accident to have been wearing their seatbelts?
Had they not been wearing seatbelts, as you can look at the damage, it would not have been a good turnout. She would not be able to walk away. Seatbelts definitely save lives. I'm always wearing my seatbelt, not just for the driver, for the passenger, as well as the back seat. If it was not important for you to be a back seatbelt driver, they wouldn't put it in the vehicles.
That's right.
So it's definitely there for the safety of you and the others in the car, to add that protection that is definitely needed. It's very important. We have some drivers who are inexperienced, some who are experienced. Accident does happen. It doesn't even have to be your fault.
Yeah.
But what we do know is that seatbelts definitely save lives.
And you mentioned something about your daughter had never been involved in an accident, so this was a whirlwind of emotions.
Yes, I was just tears, crying. She's crying. She had never been in an accident. I thought where the location that she was, it was, it's a busy freeway, and it's just her first accident. I know that she's young and she has gained the experience, but just to be able to be mindful of the street signs, how close you're driving, are you protected, are you distracted? Even the Bluetooth devices, you need to limit it, because at any moment things can change, and a lot of things you don't have control of. But what you do have control of is, before you even turn that vehicle on, put on your seatbelt. And had it not been for her putting on that seatbelt, I don't know if I would have been standing here talking to you today.
And part of the One Safe Houston that the mayor, Sylvester Turner, our chief, Troy Finner, back up so much is collaboration. We're working with so many agencies in these awareness programs. Click it or ticket. We don't want to be punitive. We don't want to be writing them tickets, but sometimes some people just won't put their seatbelt on and don't see the importance of saving lives. Hopefully this campaign saves lives, and any word you want to send out there. Do we need click it or ticket campaigns to be going out there, or do we need people to just year round to recognize how important it is to seatbelts?
Seatbelts is very important. I'm just amazed that the city of Houston partner up with the mayor, and y'all are launching a campaign to just ensure drivers of all ages, young drivers, teenage drivers, older drivers, the importance of click it or ticket. Had you not clicked a ticket, your loved one, it could be a different situation. So I'm in full 100% support of you enforcing, and if there's consequences, there needs to be consequences involved. We're no longer, it's just enough is enough. Right. We have to make sure that, our drivers stay safe and remain safe. And I just thank God that my daughter and her friends were safe during this time. And it's only because she did the thing, and she did the right thing. She clicked it.
There you go. She clicked. All right. So this is fully endorsed by a mother?
Yes, fully endorsed 100% by a mother. Yes.
All right. Well, safe journeys for your daughter on this recovery period. I know there's going to be a lot of things hurting, but thanks be to God, she's wearing that seatbelt, and she is here to tell us about it. And thank you for your contribution to Community Shield of the Houston Police Department. Any message you want to send Chief Troy Finner, the mayor, and Houston police officers out there?
I just say you're doing an awesome job, and I thank you for launching campaigns that not only save lives, but save mothers like me and their children. It is some mothers that's teaching their children to do the right thing, and she is clicking, because we do not want any tickets.
We don't want no tickets. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate your help.
Yes,
I appreciate your help. There it is, a mother endorsing click it or ticket, wear your seatbelt. She says it's not because you guys are going out there giving tickets, but it's because you guys want to bring awareness to the public.
Awareness and education, that's what this program's about. And I know this mother is happy. She has her daughter. She was involved in a severe accident, but because she was wearing her seatbelt and wearing it properly, she survived the accident.
That's right. And even her friends in the back seats, they were all wearing their seatbelts, so they all made it. It was a pretty strong frontal hit, and of course seatbelts did their deal, but the seatbelt kept the person in place from them not traveling inside that vehicle and impacting that bag even harder.
That's correct. Just as you have your frontal impacts, you have your rear impacts. If a rear passenger is not wearing their seatbelt, they can't get ejected through the rear windshield, just because of just the laws of physics. When that impact occurs, it's going to kick the vehicle forward, and the body is going to go in the opposite direction, just because of the simple laws of physics.
Sergeant Gonzalez from Traffic Enforcement of the Houston Police Department, thank you so much for your great input, and we hope that the community is able to take this to heart, and if you don't have that discipline to be putting your seatbelt, begin that discipline. It's just like when you're going to go sit down and eat and you want to pray or give your graces. Same thing. Go to your car. Make sure you turn around. You look at your kids. People are buckling themselves up. Let's make this a habit, a good habit.
That's correct. Let's save lives. Click it or ticket. Remember, every ride, every rider.
Click it or ticket. Click it or ticket.
Hi, my name is Martha. I'm with Southwest Auto Storage. I work at an impound yard with the City of Houston, and I communicate with my record drivers when there's accidents that come in. I was advised by the record driver that this vehicle hit a tree. It looks like there was alcohol and speed were factors in this accident. Probably even seatbelts. And seatbelts, of course, no drinking and driving is very important for your safety. Seatbelts do save lives.
My face and head is what broke the windshield.
The car flipped 8 times. I went out the window. I broke my tailbone, shattered my pelvis.
I could see my boyfriend's mom laying face down in the water. She didn't survive. I should have just said, everybody buckle up.
It's such a simple act that takes a few seconds.
I don't want anyone to have to go through what I've had to go through. You never get over it.
If people could see what we see, they would understand why we write seatbelt tickets. I worked a very bad wreck one night. A woman in an SUV turned left in front of a young man in a pickup truck. The young man in the pickup truck was not wearing his seatbelt. As his truck rolled, his head went out the window and he suffered severe brain trauma. After that, it was very clear to me that we do this job to help protect people.
So we're going out to Austin High School here in the East End area as a part of an initiative with the MBK, My Brother's Keeper Houston, with HPD. It's a partnership that we have working together with the Houston Health Department to go out and talk to kids in inner city schools, to build that relationship with them, to repair that relationship with them, and to really promote that transparency and working together with the communities, what HPD is all about.
I'm here with my team. We have a collaborative partnership between the Houston Health Department, the Houston Police Department, and the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives. With that said, I'd like to quickly introduce my team, starting with the gentleman to my left.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We thank you all for coming. Those of you all that want to be here, I'm sure you're going to learn something. Those of you all that don't want to be here, I'm sure you're going to learn something. If not, at least get some of these prizes. I think we got phone chargers and T-shirts and water bottles and what have you. So pay attention, see what you can learn. Take home with you what you need.
Okay, also in the back we have Miss Keisha McNeil. Will you stand, please, Keisha? She's one of our community coordinators. She works with us. She's here to support. And then there's Mr. Umawali. Mr. Umawali's is Mr. Win-Win.
My name is Jason Cisneros, Sergeant with HPD. I've been on about 12 years. I went to a rival school of y'all's, Reagan High School, now Heights High School. So I grew up in an area similar to this. I still live in the near north side area of Houston. If anybody knows over there, Cavalcade, Irvington area. Still live in the city because I believe in the neighborhoods and I believe in you. I've been in high school just like this, in an auditorium just like this. So we brought a lot of officers out here to come talk to you. Like Jackie said, the MBK program is something that was started through President Obama's administration, and it came down to all the major cities, and now Houston is doing it and has been doing it for several years with HPD as a partnership with the health department. So we're here because we want to build relations with you and strengthen those relationships with you because we know a lot of things have happened, especially more recently in the last couple of years, right? So we're here to talk to you. I did bring a lot of officers, like I said. We have two very important leaders in HPD that are here. They'll talk to you in a little bit. And I brought 3 of these officers here, these HPD personnel that graduated from this high school. Yeah, 3 of them actually sat in this seat, walked these hallways, the same ones as you. So you'll hear about that in a little bit. So we'll pass the mic around, do quick introductions, a couple minutes or whatever each, and then we'll get into a lot of good topics. Who took the survey? Y'all remember taking the survey, the Google survey? Who took a Google survey? We have some of those results. We'll talk about that today too. Thank you.
I've been on HPD for about 14, 15 years now. Just wanted to tell you guys real quick, the reason that we're here is because we love you guys, right? I've never met any of y'all in my life, but to do this job, to be a police officer, you have to love people. We care about you guys. We want y'all to be successful. We want you to feel safe, and more importantly, we want you to be safe. Okay, so we're doing a lot of talking early on, and a little bit we're going to shift gears, and we want to hear a lot more from you guys. So thank y'all for your participation today. We look forward to hearing from y'all.
My name is Treva Mott. I'm a senior police officer with the Houston Police Department. Out of high school, college, into the United States Navy. I moved back here in 2007, and I joined the Houston Police Department in 2008. I started out on the southwest side of town, transferred on the northeast side of town, where I worked night shift from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. So while you all were sleeping, I was out protecting the city with the rest of my colleagues. And now I'm downtown with Patrol Region 2, with my Sergeant Cisneros and special guest, Assistant Chief Ken 2. Thank you all for having us as guests. Thank you, Principal, for letting us come into your classroom, into your school. It was Mr. Rayner, thank him, and thank you for having us.
I'm going to do, I think, you said, where'd you go to school? Reagan. Well, I went to Jackie Yates. Guess what? We work in here, we work in this area to help everybody. I'm the community service supervisor at South Central, which services your area. My god sister is one of your administrators, Ms. Evans. Yeah, she cool, right? Yes, exactly.
Officer Bryce McKinney, been on for about 3 years with HPD. I know the first thing everybody always says we have good and bad cops. One thing I can tell you guys to lighten the mood up in the auditorium is everybody you see in this uniform right now are great cops, great officers. Not only great officers, but great people. Just like you guys, when we get home, we have to take this stuff off. We have families, we have outside lives, and that's truly who we are. Again, this is just a job. That's all it is. Now, from Waco, Texas, moved out here after college with the Prairie View A&M University. Love that. Love you guys. The reason why I became a cop, just to share this, was actually because of youth just like you. I used to work with Harris County Juvenile Probation Department before I became a cop, and I had a conversation with a few of them, at-risk youth, that told me, McKinney, you should become an officer. Intrigued my mind because just like you guys growing up, I had encounters with the police. Some of them were great, some of them not so good. So I'm saying, why do you say that? I asked him, and he said, because you're fair, you're an awesome individual, and you can change the perception of what officers have in this country. So that stuck with me, that struck me, and you see me here today. And like colleague said, I love you guys, ultimately. And there's nothing you can do about it, all right?
Hey, how are you guys doing today? Woo! Yes, how y'all doing? Good. So I am Bertha Narvaez. My name's Bertha Narvaez, and just take a wild guess where I graduated. Just a wild guess. I know I'm around a great and smart group of kids. Hey, don't you say that. Where do you guys think I graduated from? Austin High School. So not only figuratively, but literally, physically speaking, I literally sat in that seat, in one of those seats right there, right? So just a real quick synopsis, because I know there's a lot more introductions to be had, but I was born and raised in Second Ward. I know people say East End, Edo, and my partners know I don't like that term Edo, right? So I'm from Second Ward. Literally, my mom stays down the street, right? So been on the department 6 years, but I've been an officer for almost 3, okay? So reason why I joined HPD, and I'm going to be very real with y'all, my aunt was found shot and killed by my grandmother and my mother in her hair salon. To this day, it remains a cold case. So I can relate to every single one of you when you say that justice hasn't been served. Because till this day, I don't know why my aunt was found shot and killed in her salon, and that my grandmother and mother had to find her that way. Okay. On top of that, I had relatives and cousins who chose a alternative lifestyle. They're with cartel, drugs, gangs. Okay. So I've been around that. Okay. But the difference with me is that I chose to be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. I'm hoping one day your administrators and your teachers can invite us back, and I will gladly answer any questions that you guys have on a more personal schedule, okay, on a more, one-to-one deal for questions that you may have. But I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to my colleagues. I hope to get a lot of positive feedback from you guys, okay? All right.
Good afternoon. My name is Lieutenant Eric Spencer. I've been on 20 years now. Been a lieutenant for 8 years. Prior to that, I was a sergeant for 5 years. So, you see, time goes that fast. 20 years. Actually, I went to high school out in Sugar Land, Dulles High School. After high school, I went into the Navy. Did 4 years in the Navy. And when I got to the Navy, I went right across the street to U of H, graduated from U of H. As soon as I graduated from U of H, I joined the Houston Police Department 20 years. So 20 years, it flies by. I was sitting out there in a seat 25, 30 years ago thinking about what I want to do in my life. I said I want a career in public service, joined the Navy, went to college, joined HPD. So there's things out there for y'all to do, So we got a good team here. We got the chief here. We got our commander here. We got great officers. Officer Narvaez, she's one of my community service officers. She's outstanding. I'm trying to figure out who the other 2 Austin graduates. Nobody? No, okay. Oh, Robles? Okay. All right, well, got some good people here, so who wants to speak now?
I'm Senior Police Officer Jaime Escobar. I also graduated here from Austin, Class 2000. Officer Robles, he's my classmate. Same thing, I was in those seats, your age, going through life, didn't know what to do and stuff. I graduated, 9/11 happened. I decided to join the military. I signed up for the Marine Corps, served 4 years in the U.S. Marine Corps, got out and became an officer. I've been an officer about 15 years, and happy to be here. It's a great career, and hopefully y'all learned something today. These guys, you got good information to tell y'all. Thank y'all.
My name is Orlando Reyna. I'm the principal of Austin High School. I just want to say thank you to all the officers that are here. I appreciate my brother's keeper being here as well. This is a great opportunity to engage our young people, very important initiative. And I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time out of your busy days. I know this is very, very good work that you guys are doing and getting engaged in. And we need it because we want to ensure the safety of our students is always paramount. So I appreciate you guys bringing all the energy and sharing your stories and educating them, because it's very important for them. For my Austin alum, I got a little special surprise for you guys, so make sure you come by my office before you leave. All right, thank you very much.
So we came here today. Hopefully y'all learn a lot from us, and maybe we'll get to know some of y'all, and some of y'all have a little bit of a changed opinion about police after we're done talking to y'all. I did not graduate from here. I'm actually a little bit of a better Mustang than you all are. I went to North Shore, so no big deal. Nah, just kidding. So look, now we're running along with these intros, so I'll wrap it up. And hopefully, we learn from each other, like I said, and we're happy to be here.
I am Commander Johnson, and my area of responsibility happens to be this side of the freeway, all the way to the railroad tracks, all the way to the medical center. We cover OST, TSU, all those different areas. But just so you can know a little bit about me, I did not come from Texas. I did not grow up in Texas. I grew up in Oklahoma. So that tells you, you guys don't have to stay here when you graduate. There's so much out there that's available to you. I grew up in Oklahoma. I graduated from Oklahoma University. Y'all ever heard of that? Y'all got a problem with that? No? Okay. Yeah, they had a really good football team. You're right, they still do. But I graduated from OU. I came here in 1993, and when I came here, all I had was about $100. Okay, and so I had to I had to go hungry for a little while till I waited for my first paycheck on HPD, but I survived. Okay. Also, I've been here for 27 years. I also went to Dallas for 2 years, and I spent a couple of years in Dallas, but I liked Houston better, so I came back to Houston. I became a police officer because I really did want to serve and protect, especially the people that couldn't take care of themselves. So how many of you guys think that officers are out there to get you? Who thinks officers are out there to get you? Well, most of the officers actually did come to serve and protect. We don't get rich doing this job. We make a nice living, but we don't get rich. We are really, truly here for you. And a lot of us, whether we look like you or not, we still care about you guys. And I know some of you guys may think the persons that don't look like you don't care about you, but I can guarantee you that I work with over 150 officers at South Central Patrol, and there are different races, colors, genders, and they care about you guys. Their heart's in it. They want to do everything they can to put the people in jail that belong in jail. Who agrees that some people belong in jail? Right? There are some people that have to go to jail. But the ones that don't have to go to jail, we want to help you guys not go to jail. So that's what I became a police officer, is to help communities have law-abiding communities. Thank you.
Patricia Cantu. And so I graduated from Austin High School. And not at the top of the class either. So there's a lot of brains in here. Unfortunately, I didn't reach my potential until later in life, right? This was not a dream job. This is not something I wanted to be a policeman all my life. I used to work at the Fiesta right here at 800 Wayside. I used to walk to school because I lived 2 blocks away. My mama still lives right here in the neighborhood. I could hear the bell ring. I was that kid that was constantly in trouble here, believe it or not. I even was dating one of the policeman's sons that worked at Fiesta. That played baseball, and I was told to stay away from his son because I was not a good influence. So, having said that, now I'm an assistant chief. He saw me become a sergeant, and now, he sees the good product that came out of Austin High School. Once again, we don't all have that good life that we all got good money, right? I grew up in a house full of domestic violence. We were molested as children. My brother and I by his babysitter. We didn't have that perfect life. Okay, my dad was in prison, so I didn't think I could get hired on here. So we go through these times, and what I'm saying here is, if you follow the right path.
En vivo desde Houston, la capital espacial, esto es NowMedia Televisión.
COVID-19
COVID-19 transformed the way we do business. Now more than ever, fast lead generation and customer retention will determine if a business survives or not. The NowMedia Video Business Card is designed to be sent using your smartphone. It's the next generation business card that will open the door for you while keeping social distancing. The NowMedia Video Business Card is affordable for anyone from startups to multinational companies and is already being used by hundreds of businesses. Stay open, stay in business. Call us today.
¿Ha considerado alguna vez contratar un coach financiero? ¿Pero qué es un coach financiero?